Hello everybody, in today's video, I'm going to be going over Create for Sunlit Valley. It's not going to be the greatest guide, but it'll give you a rough understanding of everything you'll really need to know. So you unlock automation in two ways. You can either A, make the botanist workbench, which costs another prismatic shard, just like so, and then you can buy it from him for 32 netherite coins and a netherite star, or nether star. Or you can do the boiler room bundle, which is slightly easier. You just come to your quest tab, either go through your inventory, and it's right here, or press the tilde key right underneath your escape button. And then under the boiler room, for your first task, you just need to get a bunch of block of, materials essentially. Geologist, you just go mining in caves, go to the frozen areas, kill the snuffles in the nether, and then in the nether. These guys just go open up a bunch of geodes and just press submit on all of them. It doesn't matter. And then the adventure bundle, again, the thing that should holding everybody back is the nether star. Everything else should be easier to get. But after you complete that, you'll get the kinetic blueprint. And don't waste the kinetic blueprint on like some machine. Make sure you make this guy, so then you can just buy it from him for 64 brass. But don't make that mistake. But starting out, most to create, you need to make Andesite Alloy. Now how you make that is you use 2 iron coins and 2 andesites like so. But you can find these randomly in the world, kind of looks like that. But if you can't find it, it is okay, because what you can also do is get diorite and cobblestone, and you just put those together in a crafting table or just in your inventory, and you'll get 2 andesite for it. So one is more easier than the other. Some other stuff you may want to make in the future when you get further and create would be the item wrench, which basically lets you rotate blocks and break them easier, which is 3 golden sheets, a cog, and a stick. How you use it is you basically just go up to your whatever item, and you can just right click on certain surfaces and then it's just going to change. And if you then crouch and then right click, it just instantly breaks. As you can see, I'm not in creative mode. If I just left click, you can see. But if I shift right click, it goes away instantly. So keep that in mind. And another good item to make is the engineer goggles, which basically lets you see the stress, which you need a string on top, a golden sheet, and then 2 glass blocks on the side. And how that works, and what I mean by that is I can come over here, right? And you can see it tells me it's 32 stress. And if I remove that, it goes away. So another good thing to have. And you don't need to have it on your head slot so you can wear a diamond helmet or whatnot. You can put it in your bobble slot. Okay, starting out, we need to make the mechanical press, which to make that is you need a shaft, andesite casing, and a block of iron. To make the shaft, you just need 2 andesite alloys like this, and you're going to get 8 shafts. To then make the casing, you just need any type of logs, bring your axe, and then right click on it, and you'll get it stripped. And then take the andesite alloy and then just right click onto it. And that's how you're going to make your andesite casing. And then you can use either the axe or the pickaxe to break it and gather it. Or if you want to be faster, you can use that wrench and then just shift click like that and get it all. Next, for early game power, we're going to need to make the hand crank, which to make that, it's just 3 planks and 1 andesite alloy to make that. But starting out, what you mainly really use the mechanical press for is making sheets. Like you can make the iron sheet, gold, brass, copper, void, sturdy, and yeah. And make sure you always just, go to the mechanical press U or whatever create thing, and just press U on it, and it'll tell you like every single thing that it can potentially do. It can compacting, pressing, like you could put sugarcane in here for paper, stuff like that. Also, if something does confuse you, you can always hover over a create thing, and if you can see how it says hold W to ponder, just hold W, and it gives you kind of like a base information of what's happening. And you can press this Q over here, this like magnifying glass, and it will tell you what every little thing is to just help see how that build works. But after you make it, you got your hand crank. Make sure the hand crank is on the side that has like the gear thing on it. You're going to take your iron and you're just going to throw it underneath, right? And then you're just going to do that, and you're going to visually see it go down. And every time it goes down, it makes 1 sheet. Now you can automate this in the future, but that's what it is. And it does have to kind of be underneath the thing. It can't be really like to the side. And this is not the greatest, but this is basically a auto thing that you can do for the mechanical press. Like as you can see, I could just throw it under and it's going very slow just because I did not optimize this. But it's basically just water wheel, put this thing on the gear like so, and then just place some glass around or some blocks just so the water doesn't fall. And yeah. Next up are chutes. How you make that is you need two iron sheets, one on the top, one on the bottom, and one iron ingot, and then you do get four of them. And how it works is you just put items in there, and then it drops items like so, like right on, the block that you need. You can also use it to just deposit stuff into chests as a hopper of sorts, and take stuff out. So if I were to put that chest right there and put those in there, you can see it pops into that one. Now we can make an encased fan, one of my favorite things to do for create. And how you make that is you need the shaft, andesite casing, and now you need to make a propeller. How you make the propeller is you put four iron sheets on the sides and then one andesite alloy in the middle. And before I get too ahead of myself, make sure you make cog wheels. And before we get too far, cog wheels. You need one shaft and one oak plank, and then big cog wheel, one shaft, two planks. These are basically the bread and butter of Create. So with the fan, you can make two great things, my favorites. It is the smelter as well as the cooker. Now, I have lava like this just because if the lava is on this block, it kind of spreads fire particles over here and they don't catch on fire. It just is annoying. But basically, slabs around, lava in the middle, encased fan, vertical gearbox, cog wheel, big cog wheel, and then hand crank. And then you just want like a block to hold the thing so they don't go away. Sometimes I do that too, just in case. And how it works is we say we mined, right? We got all that raw iron. Just come over here, start doing this, and then you'll just see in a second, much faster than a smelter and the blast furnace. And just like that, they're done. Same thing over here. All you'd have to do is replace the lava with the campfire, but I would recommend just making two of them. But you can then put potatoes. It is a farming game, right? Say you farmed out a bunch of potatoes. It's worth 1,500 raw. And then if we just cook them, there we go. Once they're done, now they're worth 2,300. So we just basically made 800 gold extra just by cooking it. And there is other things you can do with it. Like again, make sure you go to the fan, press U over it, and you can see all the blast furnace recipes, but just think of it as the smelter. You got these stuff, you got the campfire, and you got washing. So there's a lot of recipes to do, as well as you can do the W for a little tutorial also. And again, just in case you guys don't know how, encased fan, put campfire, grab your vertical gearbox, like so, put in the small cog, then the big cog, then your hand crank on top, and then technically this already works, right? Like it could cook stuff, but you would just want a block just to protect the thing however you want, up close, far away. And then you want your chute, or you could just manually, again, you could just manually throw stuff like that. I just like to use a chute just so I can then place a barrel on top or a chest. And the reason is then I can just in mass, like uh, grab, say, potato and go, all these potatoes. Instead of me manually just throwing it, I could just go in here, shift, hold click, and then they'll all fall there. And while they're falling, I'm just going to crank it. And then by the time, they're all kind of falling and such, you're just going to, get more and more and more food already kind of cooked while we kind of wait in the meantime. And you can see like how many like potatoes we threw in there, right? Like however long. We already have now 500 baked potatoes just that fast. Next up is the millstone. You need a cogwheel, andesite casing, and a stone. And this is roughly what a millstone contraption would look like. Again, hover over your millstone, press U on it, and then go under here, and you can see all the recipes that you can make with it. And sometimes it is worth it. Because like here, right? You put one sugar cane, you get two always, and a 10% chance to get another one extra. I personally like to throw in my bones, so then I always get three, and then a 25% chance to get three more, or white dye. Better yet, crab bait, right? You throw in a worm, you get two crab bait out of it. So very worth it there. But it's pretty simple. Basically, you have a chest, you have a hopper taking stuff out of the millstone, you have the chute depositing stuff into the millstone, and you put stuff up here. For instance, I can grab some bones, I put it in this chest, it comes into here, then you can hover over it, you can see 8 bones, and then I start cranking it, and you can kind of see some particles means it's being worked. And then when the particles go away, you know you're done. But you can see then getting deposited in here. But the hopper is pretty slow, especially once you get more and more and more. So what you can do is either do a chest, a sophisticated chest with a hopper upgrade, which is kind of honestly the same speed as that, or you just put chutes. So it's even faster, because it does deposit. And all you would need is one big cog because technically the millstone is a little cog. So it will be fairly fast already. And then if you need me to just build it, you just barrel, chest, whatever, put the chute on top of it. So it's, depositing in there. The millstone, another chute, and then a barrel. And then you just put big cogwheel and crank. And that's it. And I did forget to show it, but you can automate all this stuff then after the fact, right? So for this fans, all you would need is, water wheel, put it down, break these two blocks, put water in either direction, gearbox, and then encased fan. Make sure the gearbox is in the right layout. And then you could see it's moving inwards. When that's moving inwards, that's wrong. So what you do, remove the water source from that side, do it on this side. And now it's blowing the correct way, right? Like you could see it's slowly moving me. And then you can just grab like so, put your campfire and in there. Now, because it is not as strong, right? Not as strong as your hand crank, these do have to be fairly close by. Because if you remove that, oh, I forgot I was going to use that for something. You remove that, and the particles just don't go far. But no, what I wanted to explain was you can then get a sophisticated magnet, put in the tag of like ingots, right? So like you would have it already done. So grab like an iron, you put it in here, like so, hover over it, the plus sign, and then you just go ingots and then add. And you can then just throw all your raw stuff in there. And then as it just gets cooked randomly, right, from the smelter, anytime now, you can see it's just popping in there. So you can just throw stuff in there and it'll automatically collect the cooked version. Same thing for this one, though not as easy, but you just press cooked meat and you throw in the raw whatever and it collects it. And how you make the magnets is you need 2 ender pearls, 3 iron, a pickup upgrade, redstone, lapis. How you make then the advanced version is, diamond, 2 gold, 3 redstone, and that whatever magnet. And the pickup upgrade is you need a sticky piston as well as upgrade base, 2 planks, and redstone. How you get the upgrade base? You buy it for 1 gold. Now to automate the milling, kind of same thing. You just place your water wheel on the bottom. It doesn't matter which side the water is on this one because it's just still grinding. And same layout. You just then use a shaft. You can use a shaft to then bring the rotation upwards to that cog into the millstone. Now you may be wondering, why do I have so many of these, right? Well, I wanted to explain. Do you see how it says 256, right? That's 256 stress units, or you can think of it as like the power. And each of these are using 32. Now, because we aren't speeding it up, you can have 8 of them because, that's 32, 64. That's going to be 128, all the way back up to basically the 256, right? You can see the moment I add one more, it's overstressed, right? It doesn't have enough power to do that. But if I remove one, it works like that. And now what you can do is grab a chute, right? Put it on the barrel on top, and then put a autoworm farm. And now passively, your autoworm farm is going to get worms, goes into the barrel, goes down the chute, goes into the mill, goes down to that chute, and then down here, you're going to be having then crab bait. And you could theoretically, extend this out. Like do it all like this because you have the power for it, right? Or you can just even, if you only want it for the worms, you could just leave it as this, right? And as you can see, they're all collecting, but you have to make sure that you do have a collection system down below, which honestly, you could probably then just use hoppers to then have it go all the way to the first one if you so chose. Or you could just give them all their own individual chest, barrel, whatever it is. Next, we have the mixer. How you make that is you use a cogwheel, andesite casing, and you need to make a whisk. How you make the whisk? One andesite alloy on the top, and then iron sheet, iron sheet, iron sheet, all the way around, and then another andesite alloy in the middle. Now, to make the mixer work, you need to make a basin. And how you do that is with 5 andesite alloys, kind of like this. And then certain mixer recipes require you to have a blaze burner. How you make that is you need 4 iron sheets around a netherrack. And how you get a blaze in there is you go either to the nether or to the skull cavern, have it, right click, and then you get your blaze burner. Now the blaze burner, to have it work, you need to give it fuel. So far I'm really liking just lava because it lasts so long. But you can just buy coal from the blacksmith. Fairly cheap. I know that says charcoal, but ignore that. And then you just right click it and then you would see 80 seconds, right? And you can just keep adding it to it with a maximum of 500, right? Or, you break it, put it down, grab the lava, and then 999 seconds. So that's how long he'll be cooking for. Then how it works, you can put this underground like so. It's just for visual purposes, but blaze burner, basin, mixer, and then large cogwheel with hand crank. This is your early game thing. And you would again just feed him like so. He turns on, and you can reach between the crack. And why I say the blaze burner, right? We'll go to the mixer, press U on it, and then you can see, for instance, glistering melon, water makes mundane potion effect, and you do need it to be heated. And you could just go through all of these if you care to, and it will just tell you, which ones need to be heated. Certain ones don't need to be heated. So there is that, right? For instance, brass, right? You want brass, you need it to be heated. Okay, next up, the automation. Now, going by before, you may try it, right? Water wheel, bring the shaft up into here. And as you can see, it says it's too slow. This is 64. And then if you did it with small, that's 32, right? The reason being is you go from small rotates faster than the big one, right? So it doubles it up. Now, how you fix that is you can do it either full speed, like this one at 256, or this one at 128. And what you do, you just put big cogwheel into little cogwheel, into shaft, into big wheel, little cogwheel, into there. Same thing for the faster one, big cogwheel, little cogwheel, and then just on top of it, right? No shaft, just on top of it, you put big wheel. On the side, then little wheel, then big wheel, then little wheel into the mixer. And now, is speed important? Well, technically speaking, the speed does make it faster. So if I were to go over here, throw it in there, and then by the time I'm over here, I throw it while it's still doing its thing, right? They should finish at about the same time because the one on the left is slightly faster. There you go. Left finish first by a margin. But once you automate this, where you can then have, for instance, like auto depositing and taking out, this one would be the way to go because it's 256 versus 128, right? And also another reason why you would use a mixer is before, right, making andesite. It costs 32 coins, the 2 silver and the andesite. But if you were to mix it, it only costs 1 zinc and 1 andesite, so much cheaper than that way. And also, for then the brass ingots. What you'll need for that is 1 zinc and then 2 brass coin or 3 brass coins. And you also have to heat him up. So you'd come over here. Let me just get rid of that. Put that down. You have to put in the zinc, put in the brass, and as you can see, nothing happened. I have to light the guy up, and then it will go down here. And then I can just right click it, brass ingot. Okay, now then we're finally in the automation. For the mechanical saw, you need to make an ancient coin, 3 netherite ingots, the smithing templates, 2 of them, and the andesite casing. This is going to be the first one you build. Every other one you're going to build is going to be mechanical saw in the middle and 2 smithing templates. It only costs you 180k versus, this one being 250,000 and then all the netherite ingots. Same thing for the mechanical harvester. Prismatic shards, you need 2 of them, ancient coin, netherite ingots, another one, and another one. 3 of those. 700k to make that guy. And andesite casing. And same thing. 180k versus, 750k. So make it this way, much cheaper. Smithing template, thing in the middle. Now then, there is no mechanical bearing. In the game. We'll have to be using the windmill bearing. How you do that is you just buy it for 3 iron coins. Next, you should make this guy, the portable storage interface. How he works is you need 1 andesite casing and the chute. And essentially this will take, items from our farm. They're going to link up and then they would take, the items that it collected, right? And after that, you would want to make a smart chute because smart chutes deposit 64 items or 1 stack at a time versus hopper or the other thing. And you need 1 brass chute, and electronic tube. So what I mean by that is right here, right? Right now, the smart chute's here. Let's say this contraption right here, right? Let me just quickly reset it so it turns off. Say I have all these things. I take it all out. I'll put it in this chest, right? And we'll turn the machine back on. What's going to happen is if it was a hopper, right? You're going to see 1 item at a time. When these things link up, you're going to see it slowly fill in here, okay? Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. The chute, I meant to write 12. It's 12 items at a time if it was replaced. The smart chute, again, 64 items. So much better. If you're expecting mass amounts of things from your farm, smart chute is the way to go. And we're going to go over how to make that here in a second. But next, you also have the deployer, right? You need that tube, you need andesite casing, and you need the brass hand. To make that electron tube, you need polished rose quartz and an iron sheet. To get the polished, you need rose quartz and sandpaper. You just grab both of them, you hold one of them in your offhand, and then just hold a right click and you're polishing, right? To get rose quartz, you need 1 quartz on the top left, and then redstone all around. And then to make the brass hand, you need another coin, and then 4 brass sheets like so. And then not the last, well, And finally, we need wind sails or windmill sails. Reason why we need them is without them, automation, not possible. We need it. You need the artisan canvas, 2 sticks, and andesite alloy. Now you can get the artisan canvas 2 ways. You can either A, do either shrimp, crab, or lobster in the fish pond society. And what I mean by that is when you press U on him, right? Go to fish pond, at 7 population, each of them, by the way, I have 7 population, you have a chance of getting 2 of them at a 6% chance. So there's that. And you buy the fish pond from the fisher guy for 8 netherite coins. Or you get a canvas loom. Takes 1 day to make it. You need 5 wool or 5 cotton into it. You need 5 treated logs. How you make treated logs is you can either also fishing pond, the muskle, whatever, in the fishing pond with a population of 6 at a 12% chance, you can get 4 of them. Or you get oak resin and any log. And just proof it does work. We got oak log, ashen, and then cherry. They all become treated logs. How you get that is you need an oak log with a tap. How you make the tap? You need 2 earth crystals, which you find on the ground in caves, and copper ingots. You guys should know how to do that. And then the basic tap systems look like this: oak log, tap, a bucket, a hopper going into a chest, like so. Starting out, what you're going to need to start the farm: windmill bearing, some chest or barrel, the windmill sails. You'll need at least 8. Some cobblestone block. This doesn't matter. It's just an item. You can make it whatever. Diamond blocks for all I care. Portable storage interface, tomatoes. Could be any seed again. And super glue is a need, and then that smart chute. First off, before I do begin, you can again look over the windmill bearing and it'll give you a little idea of what you need to do to just make it work. Now, wool does not work. You do need the sailing blocks. So I'll just do this above ground for everybody to see first. But just think this block is going to be down here, okay? But you just place it like this, right? Any kind of block you want, cobblestone. And now you can just make it the way you want. For instance, I'm just going to take sails, right? And as I place sails, right, you can kind of see here, when you right click, it says not enough sails like blocks. 1, right? If I now just do like here, 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 it doesn't need to be pretty. You can go straight up for if that's what you'd want, right? But the minimum you need is 8. Okay. So you can see 512. 512 stress units. And you can kind of see this thing is moving slow. If you want to speed it up, you obviously need to get more sails. So if I put 1 more, right, does nothing. We have to add a little bit more. And then you can see still at 12, right? We got to add 8 because that was the minimum. So now we'll be at 1024. And you can see we're moving much faster, right? And you can go, I think it's like up to 64 blocks of these things. So now if I do this, right, now we're going to be at, 150 or 1536. Again, faster. That is the sails. Now then, for the harvester part itself, let me actually go grab that because I forgot to grab it. You then just grabs your cobblestones and just go out as much as you want. You can kind of skip the first one. It doesn't really harvest that well, but you would just grab it and just put it on like so. You could extend it as far as you want, but for what we need right here, this is all it is. And when it's part of a system, you can now just place a barrel or a chest. I prefer barrel because then you can access it. And then if you wanted to put sails on top, right? But you put a barrel now, so then when the system is then running, it will auto collect and put into the chest. And then what we'd want is that public storage interface, right? And you need one block in between the two storage things. You could technically block it like this, right? It doesn't matter if there's a block in the way. It just needs a space between them. Goodness. Like so. It needs one block space between them to be able to transfer items, but it can be blocked. So you are fine if it is blocked. If this is like behind a wall or whatnot, like this is the wall, like you are fine. That will work. Now then, you will need glue. How you make glue is like so. You need an iron sheet, an iron nugget, two slime balls. Without this thing, what's going to happen, right? I turn it on. Only the first block works, right? Because that initial block has glue. So you're going to just take your glue, right click that one, and we want to add all of this to be our contraption. Now, if you don't like a way glue is, right? Like from here, maybe I want it more accurate because if I put, say, a block here on accident and now I start it, right? It now became part of the system. If you want it to look nicer, you can just take your glue, left click, and then just manually do it properly. Like you do that line, then you connect this line, and then you connect then this block to that block, and now it's all part together, okay? And then don't forget the chest. You have to link those guys to the contraption too, okay? So now when we right click it, everything moves. And you kind of saw it there for a second that they linked up. And you can see the farm is kind of rotating the wrong way. You can hold right click right here and change it. So now it's going to be coming the correct way we want for our harvesters to collect, like so. And just so we can do this real quick, I'm just going to make some dirt. And I don't know the ratio on the top of my head. You can just turn it on and visually just watch where the harvesters go. Like this guy, right? You can see like, oh, he's connecting there, connecting there, connecting there. And it looks like there. But kind of peering off, then here. Kind of like so, right? And you just do that, and there is our circle, right? Turn that off, and this is our harvest path until we decide to expand more. So all this can now be a part of our crops. It's a bit, messed up, but that's all. And remember to just kind of skip the first, like maybe like a 3x3 around because we don't have a mechanical thing there. And for something that costs so expensive, it'll only harvest what, like 3 crops or something, maybe more. But next we just grab our hoe, grab the tomato seeds, and then I personally just like to put the tomato seeds on my offhand and then the hoe like so. And then we would just kind of plant them like so. And just kind of go straight line or not straight line. And once the system is running, because like there is those grass blocks underneath it, right? Like all of those. Once the system's running, you can then place seeds on there. Now remember, don't ever let it stop then because it will break those blocks. So I can now, let me just remove this for the time being. I can turn it on, right? Place the dirt blocks over here now. Grab the hoe out and then like so, right? And as long as now it doesn't stop moving, we're going to be fine. Because this is what I mean, right? All these crops right here. They're fine for the moment, but then the moment I turn it off, it breaks, okay? That's what I mean by that. And then let's just put these guys back on like so. And I forgot I need sprinklers. Sprinklers. And we'll just kind of like plop them randomly. Like obviously do it the optimal way. So you don't have to worry about it. Like so. And then we're going to then do, let me see, where is it? Time set 24. Oh, I forgot to turn on the game itself. Let me see, game rule, do time true. Okay, they grew, and we'll just do that a couple times until they're all done. So on day 3, they're harvested, and then you can see when I hover over this chest, it's collecting them. And what's going to happen is there's no storage chest, so it's going to tap and then go away because there's nowhere to deposit. Now, same thing. We would now take that smart chute, put it underneath, and then place a barrel. And then when it comes through once again, you can see this is what I meant by like the middle, right? You could put a mechanical thing if you want, but they touch and they deposit. And then once he is done, it's just going to cycle all over again. And that is basically the basics of the auto crops for Sunlit Valley. Now we can make the auto wood farm. And you may be asking yourself, well, why make that, right? Well, certain logs have value. For instance, oak logs are worth 2. And you can kind of just go through them all and you can see, well, cherry's worth 4. You got some worth 3. You got maple worth 2. You got this grimwood log worth 7. Ash log is worth 8. And yeah, but basically, we'll just now do it on the bottom because you kind of saw how it works over there. But then same principle, right? We're going to put a random block. I'll just do cobblestone again. And then we'll just go out by a couple blocks. I'll just go by 5. And then since I don't really need too much wood, we're going to grab the then harvester. Or the saw, my bad. Mechanical saw. And then we're going to place 4 of them, 3 of them, whichever one you'd want. And then also again, the windmill stuff. See, that's 8. We'll just do the bare minimum, 8, okay? And then when you come over here, again, just test it, make sure it works. And then we're good. And then I just want to change that rotation to counterclockwise because we want our trees to grow this way. Okay, so we have the thing that's going to be chopping the wood. We need now something that's going to collect the wood. We need something that's going to transfer the wood out. And then we need something that's going to place the saplings. Now what we can do is whatever blocks you want, or you can just extend it with more sails when you have them. We'll just do this. More speed never hurt anybody, and I believe that should be fine. And how deployers work are like this, right? It's not going to place anything on that block, right? It places it here, right? Because it's extending, placing. Like so, right? So you want it on the 3rd block high, okay? Like so. So skip that one here. Yeah, skip one here. Like so, okay? And then you just basically match it with those guys, right? So you do there, 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 there. And now I placed them wrong, but you can just grab your wrench and then kind of just click it in orientations and then it will flip like so. And then you may have the problem here, right? We want to tell it what it's doing. So we're going to grab our sapling. You know, for instance, we'll just do this one right here, okay? Now you can't do filters on these guys. Well, that one you can because it's on the side, but this guy you can't, right? You just come to the top and then just right click and then it appears. You know, right click, it appears. And then you could just place in the filters like so. Now we just need to glue everything up and then we should be golden, right? So we're going to click on that, link everything to here. I want to link that guy up and then we want to link those guys up. We want to link all the saws together and then have that connect to the cobblestone. And then we want the deployers to also be a part of the system. Now I did mess up here. What you want to do is remove just one of the blocks or one of the fans because you do need a block to connect. It doesn't connect to a fan. So then we'll just do that again because I accidentally broke the glue and connect it to there and then connect these to the system like so. And then connect the chest to the system as well. And do a quick test. Make sure everything is moving as intended. It is great. Now all we have to do is, as you can see right here, right? Blank space. And then over here, we want to make our other portable interface for them to link up. And then we just remove that, do this smart chute, and then place a barrel down or whatever storage system you would like. And then you can either place saplings manually around this part, or you can give your deployers a little boost by just placing them inside of here. Now just be careful because what's going to happen is since I just put saplings in there, the moment I start the machine, what's going to probably happen, it will, yeah, it quickly deposited first, but it placed these saplings down first before it could. But we can't always give it a jump start, right? Just a couple here, a couple there, wherever, you need it. And same thing, it does have its own weird pathing, right? But then you can see it hit the log, and then it is slowly breaking the log on that one. Now we're breaking these guys. And then if you hover over it, you can see 280 logs in there. And then it's going to link and then deposit all the logs it got. And then it's just going to go all over again. Now do be careful with the cork logs, the trumpet saplings, just because they do grow massively tall, that you may run into the issue of, well, never mind, that just happened. I guess it's not, because when you manually place them and use, the tree fertilizer, because if you want early game logs, you can just do this, get the tree fertilizer and an axe, like so, right? You'd fertilize, and then you can just come over here, and then you can see, oh, still in creative. You can see I need to chop this 32 times, and I'll get 192, right? Like that is a thing. However, there is an issue sometimes where if it becomes too big, for instance, if I do this, right? And then I give everybody the bone meals. Like so. Oh, I ran out of it. So, activate those guys. Activate these guys. So you can see now it's 39 chops. And it says I would get 400 logs. But the issue that normally happens is once you hit 39, it doesn't tear down the tree, right? It doesn't tear it down. It just makes you keep chopping, chopping, chopping. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen to this. So that is my only warning for you guys. I don't know if it will work. If it works, great. Like you're going to get a bunch of saplings or a bunch of logs too. But it looks like it will be chopping it. I'll just let it on a time lapse here for a second, just so we can see if it works. And you know what? I will go ahead and bone meal all of those things real quick. I just want to see if it can indeed handle a massive tree. if it will make it so that let's see it. Yeah, so there you go. That's what I did fear. You have all these logs that aren't broken. So maybe don't use the cork trees potentially. It does work with the oak logs itself, or maybe you just don't put as much. But yeah, I don't know. Up to you guys. Do what you will. But that is all for the create thing. I know this video is very long. Frankly, it's hard to explain everything. And I didn't explain everything. I forgot this part right over here. So let me just go over this real quick. How it works, how cogs work are big wheel follows the same rotation, right? And into small wheel, it doubles that rotation. So if this is say 32, into that one, it starts faster. Now it's 64, okay? And I actually made signs to help you. So for instance, this is the water wheel. It has 256 stress units. You put the big cog on it, right? It's 32 stress. You put a little cog wheel on it, it becomes 64 stress. You put another little wheel, it's still 64, okay? You can just use little wheels to just transfer energy all the way over here, okay? But after 64, you come up, you put one big cock on top, or you can use the shafts to extend it higher as you need, or lower. And there are other items that does the similar things, but I'm just using cogwheels because that is the simplest form. But big cogwheel onto the little cogwheel makes big cogwheel spin as fast as little cogwheel, okay? 64 into 64. Now we put little cogwheel and now it's getting 128. And then same thing, right? Little cogwheel can extend it out as far as you need and it'll stay at 128. You put a bigger cogwheel on top, big cogwheel now moves at 128. And then you put a little one on it and now you get 256. Like that is the bare bones. This is ugly. Do not like copy this verbatim. But also, what is it? Little cogwheels can fit on every single block, like so. Big cogwheels cannot. Big cogwheels can go vertically though, where little wheels cannot go vertically, right? Like how you have this sideways like so. Like little cogwheels don't do that. So you can transfer power going up like so or sideways. Anyways, but the point is it goes sideways like so. So you do it like that and then you can use little cogwheels to then change the whatever into it. Like this is allowed, but you can't do that by itself with the small cogs, right? And last but not least, there are the gearboxes. Now, gearboxes have different value or different things. You got the 6 axes, which literally you have a gearbox, a shaft entry in each way. For the L shaped, it's literally an L, like it's only from here to here. Now, if you have your wrench on you, right? For instance, you want the L shape to become a vertical, well, you can put a shaft going in like so, like say shaft. Say it's being powered right here, right? And you want it to go vertically, that's all you would do, right? Or you just want it to come out as an L. And if you don't like that, you can just, again, change it which way it points depending on where you're clicking. But then you got the normal gearbox, which is just all horizontal, but same thing. You can just right click a thing and it becomes a vertical one. And you can make a vertical gearbox, but again, same thing. You can just right click with your shaft and it can be horizontal or vertical. But now then, that is everything I can think of apart from going way more into detail of the stuff. But that should be the bare bones of helping you guys understand what Create does, how Create works in Sunset Valley or Sunlit Valley. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, leave a like. It took me way too long to do some research to get this all done. But yeah, and let's see how many logs we've already gotten. We have already 3,400 logs. Now remember, my game is sped up, but so fast, you know? Every one of these things. You can actually, what is it, get a now stack upgrade, right? From uh sophisticated storage. And then each one will now hold, 65,000. So we just made 7K just like that. So it's a passive moneymaker. And again, you could probably do other logs or more expensive logs. You just need to make sure it has a sapling and there's no weird requirements for it. But thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, do hit the subscribe button. I plan on coming out with some more guides of such. And don't think that the stuff that I explained here is going to be wrong in any other server, right? The only thing different is the recipes of like how to make certain stuff. And not all recipes are too far off, but you can use this same knowledge to do other things. Like for instance, buying from the shop, you can't do. And certain, making certain things are not similar as to the normal create like this. Technically, you don't need netherite and such. It's just harder in this pack. But yeah, you can use this knowledge for other mod packs as well. But again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, that was a doozy.